Yeah, I remember the first flight when I left the ground with a paramotor. I was just so stoked. I can remember every single thing about it. And now, you know, being in the industry and being able to share that feeling with other people and experience that over and over through them, it's very rewarding. The two most important elements to our program is safety and fun. Without the fun, what's the point? You know, that's the real driving force to do this thing, and keeping sort of a light-hearted attitude towards the whole deal, or, you know, kicking some fun around all the time kind of settles folks' nerves.
Yeah, I know a guy that was going to do the Icarus race, and I thought, well, you know, one night after having a beer or two, I thought that might be a good idea for me too. But on further... Mother of God.
My name's Derek. I'm from Longmont, Colorado. I wanted to get into paramotoring pretty much as soon as I knew what paramotoring was, which was just a few months ago, because I saw some people doing it on YouTube.
Stupid mini planes. You've got less power than us. What the hell? What is this shit? It's interview time.
You know, the idea of flying is awesome, especially with the minimum amount of stuff between you and what you need to fly.
Yeah, so the first stage of the training is just getting to know the wing, and inside and out. We go through all the different components of the wing, you know, with the risers and the leading edge, trailing edge, how to set up a wing, you know, get everybody just with the basics in their head before they clip in. Trying to start to build on that. This is going to be your routine. So when we do slowly build all those parts together, towards the end when it is time to fly, there's not 15 new things. We want it to be as simple as just kind of committing to the flight and squeezing the throttle, and the rest of the foundation is already there.
I am getting the glider over the top of my head and figuring out how to get under it and counter it and get under it and counter it, and just running like a turkey along this nice straightaway here.
Then we move into stage 2, which is more kiting and more kiting. And then after we get that down, we move into stage 3, which is more and more kiting. Can you kite with your eyes closed? Can you kite on your knees? Can you kite forward? Can you kite backwards? After we get a few days under the students' belts, you know, we'll come over and do a half-wing deflation on them while they're kiting.
Getting comfortable with the wing, kind of frustrating, definitely at first, because it's hard, to be honest. But
yeah, go ahead.
then you kind of get over that hump, and then it all makes sense, and it's super easy.
You know, kiting is still a bit of a challenge, of course, but quickly seems boring and pointless, and then when it comes time to fly, you find out that's the most important thing.
There's so many nuances to kiting that, you know, it takes a minute to learn it all, and more of it that you learn, the safer off and the more fun you'll be able to have with the sport, further you'll be able to go.
But when the conditions aren't ideal for that, that's when we slip into the classroom and cover things like airspace, weather, flight characteristics, motor maintenance. But if there's an opportunity to be out there pounding away and doing the hands-on mechanical stuff, that's what we're doing.
Most worried about the takeoff and the landing, and most excited about the takeoff and the landing. And I'm excited for the tandem ride, which I hear we're doing hopefully before we go by ourselves.
The benefit of taking the student tandem is that they get the chance to feel what it's like to leave the ground, to climb out, get up to altitude, and to start cruising around in the pattern, do S-turns and cancel oscillations.
The tandem experience really, in my mind, helped connect the dots between what that felt like on the ground to what it's going to feel like in the air.
And also a lot of our sites allow us to get some little dune hops or short free flights for the students, so they can do a little bit of solo piloting, learn their flares, and get that experience before they do their motor launches. And another thing we'll slide into is we have a simulator that we hang, and we can run the students through clearing their turns, oscillation control, surge control, and a lot of the flight characteristics and things to expect when you're up there. From there we move into introducing the wing and the motor at the same time, without the engine running, and doing some reverse launch, mock launches, some forward mock launches.
First did a reverse with the motor. 4 tries, 0 wind. Nailed it!
And then move into the motor running mock launches.
And go for it. Run, run, run. Look up. Stand up tall and hit throttle. More throttle, a little bit of right brake.
I mean, ultimately, by the time we want to put those students in the air, we want to just be introducing commitment and squeezing that throttle, already having that foundation built, so there's not a bunch of new things coming at you when that big day arrives.
And you see that confidence and that reaction time, and they're doing everything correctly, then it kind of feels like we both know that it's time to fly.
This is going to be my dry run and then my first flight.
Wanting to fly straight and you find yourself swinging left and right a little bit, just remember, when you're swinging left, add left brake and then ease off. One good pull of the brake the right amount at the right time will stop the oscillation. For it, and flare ever so smooth, all of it. Run, 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 run fast, run fast. A little bit of brakes.
Awesome! Yeah, very fucking cool. Now I understand why you guys do that.
Rain was just like, let's go! That's it.
Did you see me?
Absolutely.
It's easy. when you take off, it's so comfortable.
The first flight is just sort of a work the butterflies out. We will do a few turns and work on oscillation control. But we usually only do about a 20-minute flight. And then after we get a lot of those sort of basic maneuvers down, we'll move into touch and goes, and we want to just pound out as many of those as we can. We like to see our students leave with 30, 40, 50 flights, as many as possible, that the progression of the learning for the student allows.
And we go through everything we can think of that we can impart to a person so that they can go home and make the decisions that will keep them flying happily and safely for years to come.
When he was launching and that wing kept turning to the left and he was struggling, it's because he had this in there, right in the wingtip. What an idiot!
Oh!
Fast, really fast, really fast, really fast, and release the A's and run, 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 run. Stand up tall and hit throttle. Go for it. Throttle. Throttle, baby, go for it. Stand tall. Great job, Lauren. That was freaking awesome. First try, that's sweet.
So that's our training in a nutshell. It's challenging, exciting, adventurous, but most of all, I guarantee you'll have a lot of fun. I'm shaking!
great. It's so fun flying close to the ground. It's so bad.